Hi, let's look at integers and the number line today. The first vocabulary word is integers. And integers are all of those whole complete numbers that you grew up learning. A whole number, for example, is 0, 1, 2, 3, and their opposites. So 0 does not have an opposite, but 1 has an opposite of -1, and 2 has an opposite of -2. And 3 would have an opposite of -3, and so on. So all the negative integers are the ones that are to the left of 0, the left of 0. So -1, -2, -3. All the positive integers are the ones to the right of 0. So +1, +2, and so on. Now, absolute value is a really important word in algebra. And absolute value, the symbol for it looks like these straight up and down signs. They're kind of like parentheses that have been straightened out. And that means the distance from 0. So the way that I would read this example right here is I would say the absolute value of 3 is 3 because it's 3 steps away from 0. But look at this, the absolute value of -5 is 5 because it's 5 steps away from 0. And then opposites are just the opposite of whatever number I give you. So the opposite of 7 is -7. Now the way we write that in symbols, look down here, the opposite of 7 equals -7. Now I can make it really fancy. Look at this example. The opposite of -8 is 8. Ordering integers using a number line. Okay, so this is giving us the daily low temperatures, and they said Monday was 8 degrees Celsius, Tuesday was -4 degrees, Wednesday was -1, and so on. So they want us to use a number line to determine which had the lowest temperature. So let's just graph them one at a time. So Monday was a +8. So if you follow this arrow, that means I would put a solid closed dot at +8. And then Tuesday was -4. So I put a solid closed dot at -4. And I graphed the other points. But you'll notice that when they wanted the lowest temperature was right here, the -8, because it's the farthest away from 0 as I go to the left. So -8. So the answer would be Thursday had the lowest temperature of -8 degrees Celsius. Here they want us to practice ordering the integers from least to greatest. That means from smallest to largest. So you can use a number line to help you. And so you notice that I graphed, for example, +7, I graphed it right here. -5, I graphed it right here. 9, I graphed it right here. So you can use a number line to help you put it in order and then just read from left to right. So I would write the numbers -10, -5, -2, 7, and 9. Now on example 2, you'll notice I didn't graph it because if you feel comfortable and you feel like you can find the biggest negative number here, -50, that would be the farthest away from 0, and then -25 would be next, and then 0 would be next, +30, and +45. So I'm going to make the number line optional. Okay, here they want us to identify the graphed number with the greatest absolute value. So I take a look at -20. Remember, absolute value is a straight up and down symbol right here. So the absolute value of -20 is 20 steps away from 0. The absolute value of 15, this other number right here, so the absolute value of 15 is only 15 steps away from 0. So -20 would have the biggest absolute value. On example 4 right here, the absolute value of -2 is just 2 steps away from 0. The absolute value of 4 is 4 steps away from 0. So 4 has the greater absolute value. Now they want you to find the absolute value of the integer using a number line. Now I'm going to make that optional. If it helps you, then use the number line. If you can do it without the number line, do it without. So here I'm showing you the absolute value of -10, and I want you to use those symbols. The absolute value of -10 equals 10 because it's 10 steps away from 0. And here, the absolute value of 4 is 4 because it's 4 steps away from 0. Now I want you to do number 6 and number 8. I want you to do those, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. Finding opposites. So they want us to write the opposite of the integer. We'll take a look at A here. The opposite of 9 is -9. You certainly know that if I ask you out loud. But look at what the symbols look like. We would write this as the opposite of 9 equals -9. Take a look at B. The opposite of -14. Well, hopefully you would tell me that's 14. But look at what it looks like if I just write it in symbols. The opposite of -14 is 14. Now they can make it tricky. Look at example C. They want the opposite of the absolute value of -8. Well, remember, the absolute value of -8 would give us 8. So what's the opposite of 8? -8. But look at what that looks like with symbols. The opposite of the absolute value of -8 equals -8. Okay, the guided practice right here. Write the opposite of the integer. So look at how I want you to use a symbol. The opposite of, we put a negative, and then in parentheses, put the -1. So the opposite of -1 equals +1. The opposite of 105 equals -105. The opposite of 18 equals -18. And here the opposite of the absolute value of -60 equals -60.